having a YouTube channel where I share my experiences, successes, fails regarding my garden, it has been such a blessing. It has been an amazing thing, but it does come with certain struggles. A few years ago, right at the beginning of the year, I made a video that talked about my experience of opening a YouTube channel where I share everything that I do regarding gardening, starting from seed, planting outside, annuals, perennials, shrubs, dahlias, all of that good stuff. And before I start this video with my first struggle, let me just say that I love creating content. I fell in love with creating content the moment that I started my first video years ago. And some of the things that I am going to be talking about today, there are struggles that come because of my own way of doing things, because of the introvert that I am. So some of you watching this that have YouTube channels may say, I don't even think that's a struggle, and that's completely fine. But I know that there are a lot of people thinking about starting to open their own YouTube channels at the beginning of this year, and they're all ready for it, the gear, their strategies. So I wanted to share this video to maybe prepare you a little bit better when it comes to some of the struggles that I experience in my own channel. And if this is the first video that you find from my channel, SoilandMagaritas, I don't make this kind of content. This channel is not about how to grow your business. It's not about how to open YouTube channels. All of the content that I share here has to do with my garden. Right now, we're starting to get into starting plants from seed. So if this is the content that you maybe would like to see in the future, I invite you to subscribe. And if you're a follower of mine and you have been thinking about opening your own channel, I hope that this is somewhat an eye-opener for you and it prepares you better to start your own. The first struggle that I kind of ran into it when I started my YouTube channel was finding my style. And everybody that I watch regarding opening YouTube channels talk about you have to niche down. Niche. You have to niche down. You have to find your own style of doing videos. You are either an entertainer or you're a teacher, you're a vlogger or whatever box was available, you needed to choose one. Well, I try with a lot of formats for making my videos. I really love making videos like this, just talking to you and adding a bunch of B-roll to show you what I'm talking about. I love to make tutorials and DIYs of how I'm doing things, how to start things from seed, showing you how I'm putting together planters or voiceovers. For the longest time, I did not enjoy making voiceovers until I found a tutorial on how to make videos using voiceovers, and it kind of changed my life. I like those as well. I like silent videos where all you see is me working in the garden with the nice music in the background. So I try all of those thinking I need to choose one, right? I'm either going to be the person who just teaches you all the time. I am going to be the one that brings you information. But throughout that process of trying different formats, I found that I like all of them. And there is really nothing wrong, in my opinion, on how you manage your own YouTube channel. Now, that being said, I am coming from the position of I am here trying to help other people and show them how I am doing things in my garden so they can do it in their own way, in their own homes. I am not coming from the position of I am making these videos so that I get a lot of views, so that I get a lot of money. So those two are two different strategies. I have said this many times in my videos before, but I am not running my YouTube channel to make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. The money that is extra, that it comes with AdSense, that it comes with the sponsorships is nice. I am not going to lie. It is nice extra money, especially when you lose half of your dahlia tubers because they froze outside and you need to spend a small fortune and buy more tubers. When it comes to that, I welcome all of the views so that I can get some extra pennies. So one of the decisions that I make after trying all of the formats was that I just really like to do videos depending in the mood that I am. Some days I just don't want to talk to the camera. I don't even want to take my microphones outside. So I just push record on the camera and I do my thing. And later on, I might just edit those videos with a nice music in the background. Now, deciding your style is going to be up to you. I cannot advise you to do one or the other. I am just sharing with you what has worked for me. Number two is it's more than just filming. Oh my goodness. The amount of time that it takes to prepare for a video, at least for myself, is the longest time. just for making this video. I have to make sure that I was filming using natural light. I have a window back there. It gives me a nice fill light on the back. I have my main light, which is my natural window over here, but it has to be a sunny day. And I have to start recording this video right about 9 or 10. Why? Because right about 11 or so, this window is in full blasting sun. Right now, it's a nice diffuse light, so it works. So I have to be prepared for that. Also, I have to have my notes, because I know what I'm going to be talking about and I don't want to leave anything out. So preparing for that, I actually took about half an hour to an hour thinking what I want to talk about, the points that I want to cover. So that takes some time. I also have to make sure that the batteries for the microphones that I'm using, the cameras, the strobes are available for what I need. I have to make sure that I don't have anything on the back that is going to be distracting. I have to make sure that my hair is somewhat decent for this video. So it's not just getting the camera and pushing record. Now, I did not start that way. Believe me, I have learned these things the hard way. And that is just the plan that happens before you start filming. But also there is a lot that happens from filming to publishing on YouTube. And that's all of the editing. Do you want to add music? What kind of music do you want to get? Is it going to be uplifting, or is it going to be nice and soft, or is it going to be cumbia? Is it going to be a jazz? Editing is something that I actually enjoy to do. And I know that a lot of people don't share these feelings, but I love bringing all of my 4K videos and editing. And thank goodness now I have the computer that is able to keep up with that. But I love the editing part. So I definitely take my time with that. Now, there is also the time that it happens after publishing your video. Now you have to deal with the comments on those videos. And I love getting feedback on those videos, but it does take time to sit down and actually reply to every single video. And sometimes what happens is that video, it's one of those evergreen videos that they call, that people watch over and over. It doesn't matter the season. And I have a bunch of those videos where I have tutorials, and it could be 1, 2, 3 years after posting those videos that I still responding to those comments. I used to have a moss piece that I make back there. It was amazing. It came out great. I believe that I made that video a couple of years ago. That frame already went to the donation pile. It still looked amazing. But even today, this morning, I went and replied to a comment on that video about a question that somebody had. And I feel like I have a somewhat nice handle on replying to comments on YouTube. I sometimes take a few minutes in the morning to just sit down and truly make a nice reply to a lot of the comments that you have. And if I don't get to reply with text, I just give people a like so that hopefully they see that I noticed their comment. And sometimes I miss a bunch of those comments, and that just happens. Another struggle is the pressure of staying consistent. And one of the things that I have learned throughout the years of posting on YouTube is that the algorithm favors consistency. And there is always that pressure in the back of my mind of, I gotta make a video this week. I haven't posted in the last 2 weeks. I should make a video, because there is always the fear that somehow the algorithm is going to punish you. And that is very true. You can ask anybody with a YouTube channel that has a good amount of followers, and they will tell you that posting regularly, even on a specific day, is always a great thing, because it will help your channel. Do I follow that? Do I follow that rule? Not necessarily. There are some months that I just don't feel like posting a lot. There are some days where I just don't feel like taking all of my equipment outside when I'm gardening, because I don't garden to create content, but I create content because I'm already gardening, and that is not going to change. So during those months where I'm kind of slow on posting videos for YouTube, I'm still gardening. The weeds are still being pulled, the flowers are still being cut, the tomatoes are still growing and being taken care of, and that doesn't change. But if you want to do better in growing your channel and getting that number of followers up, consistency is definitely key. Equipment matters, and whoever tells you that equipment doesn't matter, I don't know. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on equipment before you start your YouTube channel. That's not what I'm saying here. If you have a smartphone, then you already have what you need. I was very lucky when I started my YouTube channel years ago because I had my equipment from being a wedding photographer that I use. I definitely was not in the position to spend money on a nice camera, on a nice microphone to start a YouTube channel. But once you get the hang of it, once you start posting your videos, you're going to realize and very quickly that you want to be better at creating the videos. You want to be better at making things easier for you. And that's just like gardening, really. Just think about how you started the first few years being a gardener. You started with some containers. Maybe you started with a little corner where you grew some tomatoes and you started evolving. You started adding rows or raised beds or in-ground beds of things. You invested money in an irrigation system, in a nice hose, and next thing you know, you have a room dedicated just for starting seeds. So equipment is definitely not something that you need to get right away, but it definitely matters, and it's definitely something that you're going to be thinking about sooner than later. Now, just like I have become obsessed about starting seeds indoors and trying all kinds of flowers, gear for me, it's kind of like that. I'm looking at a couple of cameras that at the time I thought that I was going to use all the time. They were expensive and they probably were used 2 or 3 times, but I cannot find myself to get rid of them. It doesn't matter if they're just there collecting dust. I can't. Whether construction workers, neighbors, helicopters, trying to film a nice video outside, it's hard because all of the things that could happen. Because my content is completely about gardening, I have to be outside. If I'm talking about my hydrangeas, I have to be outside showing you my hydrangea hedge. And just the weather alone is a huge factor for me to film a video. If I am going to be working on the east side of the house, I have to do that in the evening. I cannot do it in the morning because the light is just going to be crappy. If I'm working on the west side, I have to do that early in the morning before the sun hits the other side of the house. So I have to really be prepared to work around those conditions. Now, if it's a nice day outside, more than likely my neighbors are outside as well. So one, I have to be respectful of their time. I want to make sure that they're not in the background of my videos. I also want to be sociable. So if the kids see me and they want to talk to me, I have to be there. And I actually enjoy that, but that makes a pause in whatever content I'm making. And most of the time when I'm outside making a video, I am just waiting for those interruptions to pass. I have to wait for the trucks that are picking up trash. I actually stopped recording on trash day because it's just not worth it. I just lose too much time. But you have to be able to adapt to those things. You have to just know that those things come with filming outside, and being able to work around those things is going to be easier than just getting mad every time. The next one is hard. When you find something that you love doing, when you find something that really excites you and makes you happy, it brings you joy, it's hard to turn it off. It's hard to not think about it when you're not doing that thing. And the perfect example is gardening. Right now, it's like 5 degrees outside, everything is covered in snow, but I'm thinking about the seeds that I'm going to start next week. I'm thinking about the containers in the front of the house and how I'm going to prepare those, what kind of combinations I'm going to do. I'm thinking about the cut flowers, the roadside scene that I'm going to build. It's hard to turn that off. And if you're a gardener, you know what I'm talking about. And it's the same thing for content creation. It is really hard to turn it off. And sometimes I find myself in social situations where instead of being present in the moment with whoever is around me, I'm thinking about content creation. And it's a hard balance. It's definitely a struggle for me to just say, stop, and we'll think about that later. That could be more of a personal struggle, but if you have a YouTube channel, let me know if you can relate to that one. Perfectionism slows you down. This one was definitely hard for me. Now, I am not a perfectionist. I don't have the perfect house. I definitely don't run my house in the most perfect way. I cannot think of something in my life where I'm a perfectionist, but I am the worst. Criticona. criticizer, I don't know if that's a word, for my videos. I remember my first video that I make, it took me a long time to film. I kept going back to shooting the same clip over and over and over until I was happy. The editing took me forever. One, I wasn't really familiar with the software, but two, I wanted it to look a certain way and I was just unhappy with every result. You will think that I was making a masterpiece. The video was like 3 minutes long. And even after I posted it, I was so unhappy. I thought it was the worst. Like, how could I even post this? But if I set my mind to think that way for every video that I make, I probably will never post. And it definitely was something that I got better at, not worrying too much about the quality of the video. It's even hard saying it out loud like that. While I do care about the quality of the video that I post, I am not as picky now as I used to be. And that's definitely has been a struggle for me. Having the right angles, having the right lighting, having a decent audio, having the perfect song are just details that don't worry me too much now. Keeping a low profile, it may be kind of silly, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle that I have. So I'm adding this to the video. Why not? I don't know why. Well, maybe I do. But I am perfectly okay with people in other states, people in the USA, even in other countries, knowing that I have a YouTube channel. That doesn't really bother me or makes me uncomfortable. However, people in my town, in my city, around me, I don't know, makes me feel really awkward and uncomfortable sometimes. I remember the first time in 2023, the first time that somebody recognized me at the store, and I had a really lovely conversation with that person. She talked about how one of my videos helped her, how she found me, and she never thought that I was really close to her because we were shopping at this store. I remember leaving that store and feeling like this is so uncomfortable. And I mean, that made me feel great, right? Somebody recognized you from one of your videos on YouTube. That's amazing. But I want that to happen far away from where I live. It's silly. I told you it was silly. I was talking to another YouTuber about this, and I share, like how I feel about this. And he was telling me that, that it was awkward for him as well to be recognized outside, but mostly because he really didn't want to talk to people and he really wanted them to know where he lived. And privacy is a huge thing for me, and that's why I don't share about my family here. But it's definitely a struggle. And after that, I have actually met other people locally, and I mean, it has been fine, but there is still that, I don't want them to know where I live, or I don't want them to know that we live in the same town. I think it's just kind of like a privacy thing more than anything. Making videos in public is absolutely the worst for me. And I think it's the introvert in me that is saying this. One of those fancy cameras that I'm talking to you about that is just collecting dust there is a very, very tiny camera, and it's amazing. And you can fit it in your pocket. I think that's actually one of the names of it. You can just take it outside and record. You don't have to bring your huge camera with your huge lenses and all your microphones. So it's convenient for filming outside. I just cannot find the courage in me to film outside. And it's a struggle. And that's why you don't see content here from the stores or me shopping or being out in the parks, because it's super embarrassing for me to do that. The one time that I tried to bring you along, I was shopping for some plants at a local nursery, and I went on a Wednesday at 10 in the morning, and I thought, okay, the light could be crappy, but we're gonna give it a try. Took my very small camera and I was taking it outside. I was kind of whispering, trying not to be too loud, but there were some people, I think there were workers, that were probably looking at me like, what is she doing? Why is she recording our plants? And it was so embarrassing. So it is definitely a struggle, and like I said, it's probably the introvert in me that deals with these things being out in public. If you're an introvert and you definitely don't like to be the center of attention, that's something that you're gonna have to deal with. Now, this one is definitely not a struggle for me, but it's something that could become a struggle for many, especially those people that want to start their YouTube channel because they want to make a lot of money doing this. It's not always about the money. My main push for opening this YouTube channel for myself, and I say this in another video, it actually was that video that I made years ago talking about my experience. And if you haven't watched that video, I am going to link it somewhere here, so check it out. But I talk about this idea that I have in my head about my great children watching me years from now in my garden, planting the tomatoes, my husband helping me building the trellises. Think about this. Wouldn't you love if somebody will come to you and say, hey, we have lots of videos of your great grandparents in their gardens, sharing their love for what they do, sharing their passions about this thing that they love with the people. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love to have a small video, a small 10-minute recording of my grandparents in their garden, seeing what kind of things they like to grow in their own places. That to me is priceless. And that is the main reason why I started this YouTube channel. Now, please don't get me wrong. I am not saying that the money that this small YouTube channel brings isn't nice. I welcome it, and it's a nice extra. But if YouTube decided not to pay me tomorrow, it will be hard. I will be devastated, but it wouldn't stop me from making more videos. It wouldn't stop me from sharing with you the plans that I have indoors for starting seeds or the things that I'm doing for this year. It's not always about the money. But if you are thinking about starting your YouTube channel this year and you really want to chase that as a career, it is doable. I know many people that do it. And learning from people who teach you how to do this is key. But my focus for this YouTube channel and for the videos that I make are not really emphasized with the revenue in mind, because the videos that I make help me in the future. I have been going through all of my videos for the last couple of years when I started Seeds Indoors, because they help me. They are definitely a nice journal for me that way, a visual journal, and they help me to get organized for this year. So I cannot put a price on that. Do you have a YouTube channel? Could you relate to any of these struggles that I listed? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here, you guys, and I will see you on the next time, which is going to be a seed starting video, not a YouTube channel video.